Yes, folks, New Zealand is about to get a new racist, race-based criminal justice system. Now, can you remember Don Brash back in 2004 when he rightfully began a call for one law for all New Zealanders? And he made progress with that, but sadly that went out the window with the progressive lefty John Key. And it has just gotten worse now under our dear leader Jacinda Ardern. The Turuki report is coming into effect as we speak. Anyway, hat tip to Silver Wings for this one. Now I've posted a link to the actual report in the description below, and I've also posted a link to Elliot Achilles' video covering this report. Now Elliot Achilles, the deputy leader of the New Conservatives, actually works with at-risk kids, and he gives his take on this report. And here are some highlights.
The name of the report is called Turuki Move Together. It is labelled as Transforming Our Criminal Justice System. Second report of Te Uipu Hapai I Te Ora Safe and Effective Justice Advisory Group. Now the group itself was made up of, I believe, 9 people. 2 of the members resigned just before they gave out this report. One of them was Jared Gilbert, the gang expert, and the other was a gentleman who was part of the Independent Police Authority. These were 2 very big hitters in terms of credibility, authenticity, and the fact that they resigned is pretty big news. Of course, you had one of the other people there who was very much an academic and in the grievance industry, actually said it was fine, Pākehā, well represented everywhere else. So there was even an element of racism in her comments around these 2 going.
Anyway, now to the next clip.
Transfer power and resources to Māori communities so they can design and develop Māori-led responses to offending and to tamariki and whānau well-being. Oh, what's that? Again, apart from treating one group of people different from every other person, now what you're doing is you're going to say that you've got jurisdictional rights over a certain group of people and the rest of the people can get stuffed. Because that's roughly what this is saying. That, again, is problematic. It is not part of an equal society. And this is where we start to get into some real scary areas. We've seen co-governance being pushed in terms of the water bill being proposed. We've seen co-governance in terms of the Tupuna Maunga Authority. We're seeing it also in some other areas right now. There's a bill that is about to come out, which is going to push it even more so. We must be equal. The Treaty of Waitangi, it is a beautiful document. And Articles 1 and then 3 is the idea of equality. Equality. This is not equality. This is discrimination. Legislated. I've been fighting about the whole idea that there is no such thing as institutional racism. Currently that is correct. There is no such thing as institutional racism. None. But bringing these laws in institutes racism. And I say that as Te Atiawa Ngāti Raukawa, a Tongan, Niue, and English person.
Yes, the very people who oppose racism are cultivating racism. Next clip.
Recommendation 4, whole of government, that the government basically says for the government to do everything, to be of one accord. Okay, no problem to a particular point, but again we have issues there in terms of forcing and instituting discrimination and racism by one group of people over other groups of people, rather than having one equal umbrella. E pluribus unum, the US motto, from the many one. The idea that you can be all types of ethnicities, all types of belief structures, all types of ideologies, but you come under one system. It's fair.
Yes, in other words, one law for all. What Don Brash has been pushing for years. Next clip.
Recommendation 8, racism. That racism be challenged within the justice system and throughout Aotearoa, New Zealand society, with more diverse recruitment and more effective training in the justice system, as well as school programs, media campaigns, and law changes. That's a lot of money, taxpayer money. Now, when you say about Aotearoa, New Zealand, well, it's the name of our country is New Zealand. Now, in different settings, I am all good to call New Zealand Aotearoa, or to call it New Zealand, or Nusila, or Sinsinlan, or anything else, depending on the setting. But this weird push to change the names of our nation and parts of our nation just because you want to push your own agenda is disgraceful. That's disgraceful. And doing it in a sneaky, dodgy way is I don't like that at all. The other part, with more diverse recruitment, that's quotas. That's quotas. Then we get into this area where we're saying, hey, you know, the skin colour, your skin colour, well, can we bring you into recruitment? Depends on what colour you are. Hey, depends on which part of the alphabet you are. We've got very strong areas where in order to get rainbow ticks, you have to be very much alphabet focused, LGBTQIA+. And so this is actually not going for the best person for the job. It's just going for whatever property you may have. It is identity politics. It is racist. It is sexist, misogynistic, misandrist. It is everything that the left accuse people of. The left's very own mechanisms are, by definition, horrifically bad in terms of being those. So racism, they are being some of the most horrible forms of identity politics that you can find. That if your skin colour is a little bit whiter than mine, sorry mate, points off. Get stuffed.
Yes, they can get stuffed. It must always be the best person for the job. Next clip.
Anyway, recommendation 10, alcohol and other drugs. That the government strengthen regulation of alcohol. Legalize and regulate personal use of cannabis and consider that for all drugs, treating personal drug use as a health issue with more funding towards prevention, education, and treatment. Again, the whole political push by this government, your desires and what you care about with terms of your whānau and the ideas around that aren't as important as what the left want. The left are truly pushing for THC to be commercialized, to be legalized. They are pushing for some of the most ruthless forms of diversity that you can find.
Yes, and there are two main reasons they're pushing marijuana. One, a tax to replace the present tobacco tax, and two, marijuana keeps people dumb and easy to control. Next clip.
Gradual replacement of most prisons with community-based habilitation centres. Gradual replacement of most prisons with community. Your place, your hood. Community-based habilitation centres. No. No. Some people need to be in prison. Some people do. Some people need a short, sharp shift into fair prison as well.
Exactly. Anyway, so this is how they're going to reduce Maori imprisonment stats, by closing prisons. Next clip.
But if we're starting to look at alternative justice processes, what does that mean? Does that mean that you will have a type of justice occurring where iwi have more of a say. Or if you are, as long as you're not white anyway, but if you can sort of say, oh, well, you know, that somehow your iwi has jurisdictional priority over the law of New Zealand, is that what is meant by alternative justice processes? Or does it mean something else? Does it mean that if a man goes and rapes or kills a child, and then when it comes to court, they say, well, actually, I'm a woman, I'm a girl, then they get sent to female prison? Is that what is meant by alternate justice processes? We need those. We need to understand what that means.
Exactly. Next clip.
Now, again, I want to remind, the reason why this report is really important is because the Minister of Justice and the Ministry of Justice itself has already promised that they are going to implement a lot of this. And not only that, they've said that they've already implemented, I believe, 2 aspects of it. So this is what they are doing. So don't be surprised when these things come up. And it's important for us to all know, fully aware of this honest, transparent, kind government.
Next clip.
Now this area here, I was putting this up. This one was, no one is born to offend. That's absolutely correct. No one is actually born to offend. But you know, when I'm reading through this entire document, family, how did you grow up? What was your family situation between pregnancy and 3 years old and between 3 and 16 years old? What was your family structure like? Who were your role models? They bring up so many different elements, but they don't focus on what myself and those of us in the field see. What do we see with young people and adults who are escalating in violence, escalating in antisocial and criminal behavior? Broken home, broken home, broken home, broken home, broken home, no family, no family, no family, no family. It goes on and on and on and on. And in almost every single one of those, no father. No father, no male positive role model, almost every single time. Lots of pages, $620,000 of your money went in there. And, you know, when we look at some of the harmful activities by some people, myself and other people in the field, many of us, we see the families, man. What were the families like growing up? And as you've heard me say before, the trick question, or the answer to the trick question is, in prisons, what is the percentage in New Zealand prisons of prisoners who grew up in a broken home? Well, we don't know, because we don't ask. Overseas asks, we don't. What is the percentage of people who grew up in a broken home or grew up in different family structure who committed suicide? Well, we don't know. We don't find out. We know ethnicity, income level, job, and what their particular status is at the time. But all of this, colonialism and institutional racism and implicit association bias and any other word trying to remove everything from it. And they don't look at family.
And there's a reason why they don't look. They want fatherless homes because fatherless homes require government support, government control, whereas the traditional family doesn't. The traditional family threatens their control. Next clip.
Now, I went to a Just Speak conference because a lot of this is very Just Speakish. Just Speak are very strong behind this. Now, I went to a Just Speak conference in 2015, 2016, and I went there and it was a big circle, and there was heaps of Palangi, or English, white, whatever word you want to use. Heaps of them were there. We were in a big circle. And there was myself and I think maybe about 2 or 3 other brownies. And we were sitting there, and then they said, right, we're going to go in a big circle, and we're going to talk about, what's going wrong. Why are so many Pacifica and Māori in prison? And so they went around, oh, the white man, oh, colonization, da, 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 impoverishment, all the usual tropes that you expect from leftists now. And when it got around to me, I think I may have annoyed them, because I said, the reason why there's mostly Māori and Pacifica people in prison is because we commit the most crime. When I said that, no. So I furthered that, and I said, if you really want to understand, you're asking the wrong question. The question you need to be asking is, why do we commit the most crime? And when you're talking about that, that's when you get into the areas of family and growing up in a broken home and no dad or no male role model, broken up family or no family whatsoever. And so you're looking at the family structure in that growing up period of in vitro to 3 and then 3 to 16. That's what you're looking at. Now, in that one, heaps of pretty much all the academics were, no. They were shaking their heads in that very odd way of trying to be dismissive. However, peripheral my eyes, I did see 2 people nodding their heads furiously. One of them was the prison worker, the prison officer, and one of them was the keynote speaker who had actually come out from prison to speak to the group, and he was convicted of murder. He did his time and he came out. Those were the 2 nods furiously nodding their heads, while all of the academics were going, no, you're wrong, mate. So these are the ones who write the policies.
Yeah, that is so typical. The people who work in the field or who have lived it get ignored. Next clip.
System fails to meet diverse needs, and we all knew this was coming up. Many people from Māori, Pacific, refugee, migrant, disabled, and LGBTQIA plus communities told us that the justice system does not meet their needs. Okay, apart from the fact of victims, if you've committed a crime and then you'll go through the justice system and you feel that they haven't met your need, yeah, no offense, get stuffed. If you've hurt a little child, if you have trafficked in meth, if you brought in so many drugs to hurt and to kill our people, get stuffed.
Exactly. Get stuffed. Yes, the rort continues. This is nothing more than a scam to milk the taxpayer out of millions. If they were really serious about reducing crime, they would be protecting the traditional family unit. It's that simple.